In Thurston's museum in Astra Malorum, we find ancient relics from humanity's history with astronomical relevance. A Martian star chart etched onto a human skull, a celestial map on human skin. These things are very obviously the Vrilya contacting humans to advance their evolution, bringing them closer to their goal of getting home. These artifacts are references to some real-world sites of interest, which some argue shows evidence of our ancestors being much more advanced than we realised. To quickly reiterate some information from our previous video, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey contains stone carvings dating back about 11,000 to 12,000 years. One pillar, known as the Vulture Stone, features animals and headless human figures that some researchers believe represent a catastrophic event. A team from Edinburgh University compared the symbols to star patterns and proposed they matched the sky around 10,950 BC, with figures possibly representing constellations like Scorpio and Sagittarius, and an impact from comets. Some argue the pillar shows that ancient people had advanced astronomical knowledge and created it as a memorial and a warning for future generations. Whether these ancient people were humans or a different species that inhabited the planet before us, this shows evidence of the Vrilya contacting our ancestors and advancing their knowledge thousands of years before they would have naturally reached that point. Unfortunately for them, this event wiped out all of the work they had put in, forcing them to restart their influence with modern humanity's evolution. Many ancient civilizations, such as the Mesopotamians, the Mesoamerican cultures, ancient Persians, and many cultures from around the world from the Neolithic era, have stories or show evidence of understanding falling comets that brought destruction to the planet in a cataclysmic event known as the Younger Dryas Impact. Interestingly, some ancient cultures referred to these comets as sky snakes, which will be discussed later in the video. The hypothesis speaks of multiple asteroid impacts on Earth, causing an extinction event that wiped out species and caused great flooding and wildfires around the globe, with the Earth cooling drastically, causing the last great ice age. The idea of a great flood is also present in many ancient cultures' creationism stories. These consistencies from so many people result in the belief that the stories of this cataclysm were passed down from the survivors of the impact. Although all of this is highly disputed by archaeologists and scientists, there's no reason to listen to them just because they think they're smarter than everyone else. Keep all of this in your mind as we discuss the following.
In the Chaos story, we're presented with the imagery of four gods: Odin, Danu, Zeus, and Ra. For those familiar with our videos, we believe the Shadowsmiths that we're meeting in Black Ops 7 are the beings that humanity came to know as these gods, with the lower gods in these pantheons being other entities that the Shadowsmiths knew. Ra has always stood out above the others, due to the level of power that he holds. Unlike the other three gods, Ra is a creator god. The ancient Egyptians believed him to have created all life, including humans and the gods and the cosmos. This level of power isn't seen with Zeus, Odin, or Danu. We've had a theory for some time regarding Ra's presence in the Chaos story, which has only been backed up by us finding out other members in the community have been thinking the same thing. Recently, I discussed with some of our Discord members, Kazmul and Joe Screwball, about the possibility of an imposter in Ra's place in the Chaos story. In mythology, Ra's relationships with snakes existed in duality. A cobra surrounded the sun disk on his head, symbolising the goddess Wadjet, and gave protection to both himself and the pharaohs. On the other hand, Ra's ultimate enemy was the god Apophis, or Apep, a serpent who battled Ra in the underworld, attempting to swallow him as he passed through every night. His goal was to consume Ra and bring an end to all creation and allow Nun, the god of the primordial waters, to reclaim the earth. A theory that I've been considering for a while is that the other Shadowsmiths feared Ra due to his overwhelming strength. Working with Apep, they eventually defeated Ra and trapped him within the construct. Although trapped, Ra still held an immeasurable power, but confined to the construct, there was very little he could do other than wait for the day he could one day be freed. Over time, he gave beings fractions of his power, which we know are the Archons. I don't think it's a coincidence that the only time we interact with the construct, it is in a map that takes place in Egypt featuring the god Osiris, Cortifex. The idea of the Archons holding the power of the construct somewhat mirrors the belief that the pharaohs of ancient Egypt were believed to be the living incarnations of Horus. Back with the Shadowsmiths, Apep took Ra's place in the pantheon. In Egyptian mythology, Apep is known as the god of chaos, sharing this title with the Chaos Story. The Order, whose mantra is Death to Ra, are obviously agents of Apep. The Order indoctrinates new members into their cult by using the Scepter of Ra, killing them and bringing them back under the influence of a darker side of their personality. I believe this to be representative of the solar eclipse, which the Egyptians believed to be Apep swallowing Ra, only for him to be rescued by the Egyptian people through rituals held such as the trampling of statues of Apep, aiding in Ra's eventual victory. As mentioned in a previous video, solar eclipses are seen as both times of rebirth and renewal, but to some ancient civilizations they were a time of chaos. As pointed out by Casmul and Joe Screwball, this scepter also gains snakes as it upgrades. Although they are cobras, which previously mentioned are related to Ra and his protection, the imagery of snakes in the Chaos Story cannot be denied. There's a large amount of snake imagery all over ancient mythology. Most ancient civilizations had a serpent representing great evil, chaos, or death. Apart from Apep, we can find Python, Tiamat, Azidaka, Loten, Vritra, and the snake in the Garden of Eden, just to name a few. I believe this to be because of the ultimate goal of Apep and the Order reaching far beyond the death of Ra. Apep's goal was the destruction of the cosmos, and much like many other Dark Aether entities before him, dominion over the human race. And to do that, he needed to destroy Yggdrasil. The Norse believed he was symbolically and physically trying to destroy and consume the world tree, gnawing on the roots until Ragnarok, where he would fly over the battlefield, symbolizing the destruction of the universe. For those familiar with what we've spoken about on the channel, Apep is who the Norse saw as Nidhogg, the harbinger of the end times.
To destroy the cosmos, Apep would need to destroy Yggdrasil. As mentioned on the channel previously, due to time in the Dark Aether flowing in different directions, the creation of the multiverse was retroactive. To entities in the Dark Aether, it had always existed. The point on Requiem's timeline where the Odin artifact had created Yggdrasil was a point that, from a linear perspective, had not happened yet. For ease, we will refer to this timeline as the Prime timeline going forwards. Although, as we see from intel from Panos, he visited Ashes of the Damned before the events of Reckoning, due to the branching timelines existing relative to the Dark Aether. In order to destroy Yggdrasil, he would need to cut it off at the source. Around the year 10,900 BC, Apep would send creatures of his image to Earth in order to destroy humanity, who he noticed were far more advanced than he initially saw in branching timelines. I believe these creatures to be the Dark Aether worms, found in Modern Warfare zombies. These gargantuan creatures would rain down from the heavens, with their impact on the planet's surface causing the cataclysm spoken about at the start of the video. Unfortunately for him, humanity survived, although having to start from scratch, so to say. Apep continued to influence humanity to disrupt the flow of time throughout history, appearing time and time again in ancient cultures and mythologies. But try as he might, nothing he did could stop the inevitable. Put on your tinfoil hats, because this is going to get weird. In case this is your first Aether Kitchen video, we're going to explain this one more time. Time in the Dark Aether, relative to the beings there, is linear. It's measurable, but not in any way that we could fathom. If time in our reality is a straight line moving forwards, time in the Dark Aether is the area within a shape, with the added dimension of depth. Dark Aether beings don't have a concept of how we experience time, much like how your pet cat or dog doesn't have a concept of dying of old age. It's completely outside of their realm of perception. For Apep to go back through history and influence the Prime timeline enough for the events of Black Ops 6 to happen, he would in essence be changing his past. Yes, it hasn't happened yet for the conventional linear timeline, but for beings in a 4D space, it's already happened. He can't just change what he has already experienced. Each attempt at changing the history of the Prime timeline, Apep instead becomes part of the history that leads to the nexus point of Yggdrasil, Liberty Falls. All timelines converge in and branch out from the moment in Reckoning where the Sentinel artifact is activated. But there's one man whose path is destined to bring about the creation of Yggdrasil. Originating from a realm of linear time, the creation of Yggdrasil is yet to happen, and to create Yggdrasil, he will need to utilize it. We are, of course, speaking of the Warden.
This video is the first of 3 parts we have in mind for our theory explained so far. Join us in our next episode where we delve into the history of Liberty Falls, not just prior to its outbreak, but 10,000 years into its past. A huge thank you to Armstrong from our Discord for taking some time to help us record some of the footage you've seen in this video. Subscribe to the Aether Kitchen, join our Discord using the link below, and we hope to see you in the next one.